Greetings, everybody. It's a little past 7 o'clock on Thursday. David Folse from PelicanPreps.com. To my left, or however it's going to show up on YouTube later, new Hahnville coach, Daniel Luquet. Coach, congratulations first, and thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it. It's been one heck of a ride, and I'm ready to get started, man. Ready to get started. Thanks for having me.
Coach, put me in the interview room with you when you're going for the job. What'd you tell him? Like, what were you when you made your pitch, what did you tell people?
You don't have to look any farther than what's in the room. I have a great relationship with the kids. We've done some great things since I've been here. Our staff that we have at school, both faculty and on the football field, are top notch and the best I've ever been around. So, let's just continue the things that we're doing. Let's build on what Hahnville is and what it's been about. I'm from the community. I understand what this community needs. I know how to win at a high level. Look farther than what's in the building.
The familiarity. You're not coming in. You're not an outsider coming in. I mean, you taught all these kids. You taught them. Your offensive system is in. Being the offensive coordinator last year, how much does it make the transition easier where you're just going up one spot?
It's not so much a transition from one spot from OC to DC. I mean, to head coach, but we're talking about that none of us have ever experienced. So to have that consistency is huge, especially offensively and defensively. Not only that, but you have the same voice when it comes to your coaches talking to the players. Expectations stay the same, and you just keep that engine running in the right direction. So, I have a few things that we're going to change along the way. Some things that I think are more important than others, and expectations that need to be hit in order for us to be successful in the classroom and on the football field. And we'll get to those things as soon as we can with Zoom meetings and other opportunities that we have to talk to the kids.
All right. I was going to kind of get to that. This is not a shot against Coach Saul, but how is a Daniel Luquet Hahnville coach team going to be different? Not better or worse, but how is a Daniel Luquet coach Hahnville team going to be different than in Hahnville teams in the past?
He's won a lot of football games, and we did some good things. And I think for me, it's really more of, embracing what the traditions of Hahnville have been in the past. I've had my father-in-law played there, my brother-in-law played there. They both won championships there. And it's probably bringing back some of those things that get the community fired up and just old traditions. I think that it's time, I think Coach Saul put his mark on what Hahnville football is, and a lot of the things that he does will keep going. And I think it's bringing back what some of those old coaches have done and to put on my mark on what, to me, a program does. We're going to worry about the little things because the little things take care of the big things. We're going to be very discipline-oriented. We're going to be disciplined in the classroom. We're going to be disciplined walking from the locker room to the bus to go on road games. How we dress, how we look at practice, how we talk to people. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Those are going to be things that are going to be expected from these football players. They're going to be expected from our coaching staff. So, those are some of the little bitty things that, will change and not maybe so much change, but stress more, with me being in charge now.
I don't know the right way to ask this question, but in terms of staff, do you see some staff changes, or do you like the staff as is and you just move up? What is going to be your approach in terms of staff?
So we really have a good staff. Offensively on our side of the ball, we'll start there. I have a bunch of guys who have been there for a while. We worked well together this year. I thought that they took, what I was trying to do offensively and ran with it, put some of their own personal twist on it, but accepted new ideas and a new way of doing things. I'm going to keep the play calling. I'm going to keep that title. So I won't be hiring an offensive coordinator. So we'll add a guy to coach quarterbacks. That way I can kind of take a step back and really focus on what the whole offense is doing. And I know that I have guys over there that have done it before, some really quality people that if I need to go on the defensive side of the ball for, 10, 15 minutes, I know that things are going to get done the way I want them to get done offensively. Defensively, we have some staff. We have some staffs that, we need. Caramel is going to be my DC, but I do have some spots I need to fill, and we're looking, but we're going to surround, him and what we have currently on the staff to really give us the best opportunity to be successful on that side of the ball.
I talked to Coach Scott, your new rival now at Destrehan, and we talked about the same thing, and I'm going to talk to you about it. You're presented with a lot of tools. There's not a lot that you can say you don't get that you ask for in St. Charles Parish in terms of high school athletics. But with that also comes a tremendous amount of pressure. Do you embrace that pressure of you better win if you're the Hahnville High head football coach?
I was a quarterback growing up. I played quarterback at Destrehan High School, and I played quarterback at Southeastern. So I embrace pressure. You don't get into this business and you don't try to get to the highest level, which is Hahnville or which is Destrehan, and not be afraid to embrace that pressure. But I think that's when you lean on those people that you have in your corner, like administration, like your coaches. This is not a one-man show. And if you try to do it by yourself and you try to not delegate and take some of that pressure off by other means, then you're doing it wrong. And this job will eat you up. But, there's a reason. You say it. We get whatever we need to be successful at Hahnville. And you get coaches that want to be a part of what Hahnville football is. And they don't want to go anywhere else, and they want to do it the right way because it's what's expected. So, yeah, I live for the pressure, and it's what it's about. High school football in the state of Louisiana, especially at Hahnville or Destrehan, is top notch and top programs in the state. And we compete for championships every year. And with those championships that we try to earn, pressure comes with it, and you just got to be able to handle it.
This is not your first head coaching job. You spent, was it 3 years at Woodlawn?
I was there for 5, head coach for 4.
Okay. I'd love to know what things you learned that worked that you're going to take with you, and things that you found out that didn't work that you want to change and not make that same mistake again now that you've got another head coaching job.
Well, one of the things I learned at Woodlawn is that being the head football coach doesn't mean coaching football from 2:30 to 5:30 or Friday nights or freshman JV games on Wednesday. It's really about being an ambassador in the school, about being an ambassador at the middle schools and at the elementary schools. The one thing that's different about Hahnville to Woodlawn is Hahnville is a gigantic community that thrives off of each other, and all the schools feed to one high school, which is Hahnville. So being able to get into those middle schools and those elementary schools and get the excitement for those kids that want to be Hahnville Tigers when they get to high school, to me, is one of the most intriguing and exciting parts about taking this job. It was something that I didn't really do a lot of at Woodlawn because it just the options weren't there. So you try to do as much as you can in a community like Baton Rouge, but it's so big and there's so many different high schools and so many people pulling ropes and directions, and it's just hard to find your ground in a place like that. But when you're Hahnville and you're the only school on this side of the river, everybody funnels to you, and everybody comes to games on Friday nights and is excited about Hahnville. And to be able to be an ambassador for Hahnville and to do the things that I want to do outside of just football is something that was different than when I was at Woodlawn.
Couple more minutes here with new Hahnville head coach Daniel Luquet. Coach, we're in a position right now with this pandemic. It's something we can't compare it to anything. Like, no football coach has had to go through things like this. There's the possibility that you're going to have games with no fans, or maybe you don't have games, or we just don't know. I'd love to just get your approach on this, and what are you trying to do? Is it all about just trying to be calm for your players and give them a sense of direction? What has been your number one focus through all of this?
For me, it's just the health of our players, and I'm not just talking about not getting sick with COVID-19. I mean, obviously that's what, is the number one goal, and making sure that we're taking all the precautions that we need. But for me, it's also like the fact that, when you come into the spring semester of school and you get back from Christmas, there's a plan. You have a plan of how you can prepare your kids from January all the way till we start camp in August. And that plan has been changed for everybody. So even if they do say we can bring 20, 25 kids in, however that looks, it's for me just the first step to getting them ready to play one of the most high impact games that there is in football. But with that comes the fact that I have a great support system in the St. Charles Parish, and we're going to do what's best for the kids, what's best for our coaches, and what's best for any administration or anybody that is associated with strength and conditioning, weights, 707, and those things. And obviously, the kids are always the number one thing when it comes to us, and their safety is always going to be number one. So no matter what the LHSA says or whatever they're asking us to do, as a district, we're going to look at that and say, okay, how are we going to implement this? But most of all, how are we going to implement this to keep our kids safe?
All right. Obviously, kids safe is top priority. No one's going to question that. But I need you to put your football coach's hat on here for a second. From a pure football on the field standpoint, not having these summer workouts, the 7-on-7s, no spring football. What's the biggest thing that you worry about those effects heading into the fall?
Offensively for me, it's a timing thing. I think that, and I say that we bring back 8 guys. So timing for me on the offensive side of the ball isn't as, worrisome as some other things. But, defensively, when we're trying to make new changes to what we do schematically, it's hard to do that like we're doing right here over a computer. A lot of times it's teaching and as an educator, you always talk about how you model things and then you show them a different way to do it and then you test them. Well, we can't do those things. It's basically, here's what it looks like on the screen. We won't show you that for another month. I won't see you run around. So, it's for me, it's the schematics. Kids are kids and they're going to find ways to work out and try to be strong. And look, if I went outside and tried running a mile right now, I'd pass out. But a 17-year-old can go outside after not running a mile and run one and be fine. But it's the longevity of what we're trying to do in a season. It's the schematics. It's putting your philosophies on things. It's hard to do that through a computer, but it is what it is. And hopefully when they say we can bring 25 guys in, we'll lift some, we'll work some on the field. We have a plan for how we're going to do that. It's just hard to see it right now because nobody really has any concrete, evidence of what it's going to look like.
Coach Daniel Luquet, last question for you, and again, appreciate your time. How exciting is it? There's a new coach at Hahnville, a new young coach at Hahnville, a new young coach at Destrehan, 2 successful coaches, 2 successful programs. Do you feel like we've kind of turned the page and it's the next generation of this rivalry? And our generation, we're basically the same age. Our generation gets to take over this rivalry from our parents and their parents. And it's the next step in a Hahnville-Destrehan rivalry. Hopefully that's going to be successful for years to come.
It definitely is exciting. I mean, I can't express how excited I am to be the next head football coach at Hahnville. It's unbelievable, and the last couple of days have been crazy, and just the amount of support. But yeah, I mean, and I've been around this rivalry for a long time. I've been there when Stephen Robichaux was there the first time and coached for him, and Lou Valden was at Hahnville for 10, 14 years, and it's always been the same faces. And then Robe comes back and Coach Salt, but I do think that you're right. Younger coaches are starting to get their foot in the door, and I think that people are starting to take a chance on guys who are passionate about football, kids, and just what this profession is. And I think that you're seeing it not just at Hahnville and Destrehan, but around the state. The coach at Acadiana took over. He's a young guy too, and it's something that you see a lot in the state, and it's really exciting for us young coaches, and it's really exciting for guys that are friends of mine who may be coordinators at other schools that their chance may be called next sooner than later.